A second worker from a Smithfield meat processing plant in South Dakota has died of the coronavirus. Craig Franken, 61, died on Sunday from COVID-19 complications. A 40-year veteran of the plant, Franken, according to his obituary, was planning to retire in the next couple of years. The outbreak at that Sioux Falls plant is among the worst clusters of coronavirus in the country, and workers are beginning to speak out.
I started getting really super concerned when a person on my line was diagnosed with COVID-19. There's people standing in line outside, there's people inside in the locker rooms, people walking down the hallway, and there's no way of being 6 feet apart. A lot of us were getting scared, knowingly that if we didn't show up for work, we might not have a job. A lot of people were worried about their family members and bringing it home and spreading it to them.
As of today, there are at least 725 confirmed cases among plant employees, according to Argus Leader. Smithfield told All In tonight, quote, "We are doing everything in our power to help protect our team members from COVID-19 in the workplace." Here to talk more about how it got this bad and what happens now, Albert Samaha, an investigative reporter at BuzzFeed, who wrote about the Smithfield plant and how it turned into a coronavirus hotspot. And Albert, first, just tell us about what this plant is, how many people work there, what the conditions are like even before the virus started spreading.
Well, it's a pork processing plant, employs 3,700 employees, provides around 5% of the nation's pork supply. So this is one of the biggest pork producing companies in the world.
And how closely, how close are people to themselves in the normal work of that plant?
So a lot of folks work on a conveyor belt production line where they're chopping meat, cleaning meat, passing meat down. They're working shoulder to shoulder, literally rubbing elbows as they're working in conditions where they're passing meat to each other as well. On other floors, there are people with forklifts that go up and down the floors. At lunchtime, they all kind of gather at a cafeteria together. You can have 100, 200, sometimes as many as 300 people in the cafeteria. So there's a bunch of different jobs, and the majority of them involve people working literally shoulder to shoulder.
So when you think about that, you think, when you conceive of places at the beginning, when we first started finding about this virus, cruise ships, long-term care facilities, prisons, meat processing plants seem like a place where it would be natural to imagine you can get an outbreak. Did Smithfield take precautions early on to sort of be proactive about the virus? And how did they find out it was spreading so quickly?
The extent of their precautions before they found out of their first confirmed case was putting up signs in multiple languages, sort of giving hand washing instructions. Other than that, there really wasn't much, if anything. They found out in late March, last week of March. March 24th was when some of our sources first heard from managers that there had been a confirmed case. And for the next week that followed, there was no policies implemented for those 7-8 days. And then on April 6th is when they closed the 8th floor, which is the first time that they closed any department. And that was about a week afterwards. They left everything else open, continued operations as normal. And then the following week was when they began to put in the plexiglass dividers, the cardboard dividers, and giving out masks. The problem, as we know how this virus spreads now, is by the time you sort of see a small outbreak, it's already too late. And there's many more people infected that you can even know. So by the time that first week came, when they took their first steps, by the time that second week came, they were already having a fast outbreak that they really couldn't catch up to.
This is a story we have from Wuhan to Lombardy, from Lombardy to New York to Smith. It keeps repeating itself. Like, if you wait a week after you get your first confirmed case, you are going to have a massive outbreak. They now have 735 people. I think there have been 2 fatalities. The governor has been very protective of Smithfield, and she said this thing on April 13th, sort of defending the company in some ways and saying she thought the transmission wasn't happening in the plant. Take a listen to what she said.
We believe that 99% of what's going on today wasn't happening inside the facility. It was more at home, where these employees were going home and spreading some of the virus, because a lot of these folks that work at this plant live in the same community, the same building, sometimes in the same apartments.
I mean, that seems that a lot of these folks do, my understanding from your reporting and others, is they do live close to each other, but it just seems impossible for anyone to know what the source of transmission is, and they are all working in the same facility.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I was telling about both what the governor and the company has said about how this spread is that they have cited no other factors other than the fact that a lot of their employees happen to live close together. When I initially spoke with representatives from the company, they didn't give me any answer over why it might have spread so quickly, except initially sending me that very link to the interview you just played. So they're also sort of using the governor's words to defend their actions. And I think the thing that really caught my eye, and as we reported in our story, is that even though the governor has not, South Dakota is one of 5 states that haven't had any stay-at-home orders, and even though the policies themselves are delayed, especially compared to how other companies have handled this outbreak, despite those 2 factors, the only factor that both the governor and the company have cited is the fact that a lot of their workers are immigrants who live close together.
Yeah. Albert Samaha, who along with Katie Baker did some phenomenal reporting about this plant. It's one of several that have really, really bad outbreaks right now. We want to keep on this story. Thank you very much.